If I lost my entire inventory, my store, all of my feedback, and I had to start over on eBay for 2026, let me tell you exactly what I would do. Promise you, it wouldn't be the same way that I did it in 1999. In 1999, we had different kinds of buyers. The whole shipping world was completely different, and how you got paid was wildly different. So the things that worked for me in 99 wouldn't work for me in 2026. The first thing I would want to tell you, if you're thinking about doing this, is that eBay is still viable going forward. It has 134 million active buyers worldwide. And while there is more competition than there used to be, it is still one of the largest buying and selling platforms that exists. Starting in 2026 isn't too late, it's just different. First thing I would do with a brand new account is I'm going to do some buying and selling on eBay. Let's talk about the buying part of it first. I'm going to buy some of the materials that I'm going to need, like tape, and maybe some envelopes and a few boxes. I'm going to buy those from places like eBay, their supply shop, because I know I'm going to get feedback. Here's why that's important. eBay doesn't distinguish between buyer feedback and seller feedback. So whatever feedback you have, that's just your feedback. So I'm going to start building some positive feedback right away. And part 1A of that, I'm going to start selling things from around my house. I'm going to look for items that I'm not using that are in great shape, some really easy stuff to send off, pack, and ship. I want the platform paying for the growth of the business, which brings me to the next part, is setting a clear goal for what you're trying to accomplish. Do you want a business, or do you want a side hustle? Or do you want something bigger than that where you have lots of different employees? What Melody and I have is a small business that we work on to provide a supplemental income and also build for the future, so that my son, who has opened his own store, is also piggybacking off of it. So it's not just for providing for us now, but also providing for the family long term. So our business goals are built around that, and our business goals are built around giving to other people. But set clear goals, because everything you do from here helps that business become what you plan for it to be. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 1 or 2 categories that I already understand. Instead of trying to study everything or watching a bunch of YouTube videos and listen to everybody's bolos, and I'm going to start with things that I know. Me personally, I know woodworking really, really well. I've been a woodworker all of my adult life. And so that would be a category that I would lean into heavily because I already understand it. That would take me to the next part of that, is I still need to research. Having been a woodworker all my life, the game may have changed there too. So there may be other things that are selling now, or the prices may have changed. So I am going to study. I'm going to look at places like eBay, and I'm going to look at what are people selling, how much are they paying for it, and just compare it to what I already know to make sure that I get a clean start with those things that I have. The next thing, and maybe one of the most important things, take professional looking photos, and you can do that with a phone. I'm going to set my photography station up like this. I'm going to get a couple of really cheap poster boards from the dollar store, just white, and I'm going to put them somewhere close to a window where I'm getting a lot of natural light, then use my phone in 1 by 1 and take nice, clean photographs. I'm not going to spend a bunch of money on a setup. I'm not going to spend a bunch of money on a camera or lighting or any of that kind of stuff. I'm going to focus on clarity and consistency. That is it when I start taking photographs. The 5th thing I would do, if I'm starting today, I'm still starting with a thermal printer. I've thought a lot about this because I'm big on not starting with spending a bunch of money on your business. I want the business to pay for its own growth, like I said earlier. But I'm starting with a thermal printer, in part because that whole game has changed too. When I bought my first thermal printer, it was $300 or $400. It was Rollo. It was great. Used it forever. I have reviewed a ton of inexpensive printers. The last one, if you saw my video, was the Munbin, and it's like 60 or 70 bucks, and it works great. I didn't even bother hooking my other printer back up. I just left the Munbin hooked up, and I use it every single day. If I'm starting fresh, I'm still starting with the thermal printer. No matter what, I'm going to start with that. And the other thing that I would do as far as shipping from day one, if I don't understand exactly what it's going to cost to ship things, I'm going to use calculated shipping. at least at the beginning, until I know about what things are going to cost. The more shipping I do, the less confusing the cost would be, but I would start with calculated shipping. There are things that I would avoid this time that I didn't do in the past. The first one is buying a bunch of inventory before I know what I'm selling. My worst purchases were at the beginning. I have made better and better purchases as I have become more experienced. I know what to look for, and I know where to look, and I know what to pay. So the first thing I'm going to avoid is buying a bunch of stuff before I'm selling a bunch of stuff. Another one that I'm going to avoid is comparing my day 1 to somebody else's year 10. When you get on Instagram, and I've done it, I've been guilty of it, we post how much we've sold and how much money we've made. And if I'm brand new and I'm looking at it and I made $14 that day, I'm excited because I made a sale and I got it shipped off, and then I look and somebody else did $1,400 today. Well, I'm not where they're at, and comparing my business to their business isn't beneficial to me. The other thing that I wouldn't do is I wouldn't stress over every single algorithm change. There are things changing on eBay all the time, and worrying about every single change keeps me from just working. But the most important thing for me as a beginner is to just find good items, get good photos, create a nice clean listing, and get those sold and ship them off safely right away. If I do that, I'm going to start out very smoothly. And that's going to be more important than worrying about every single algorithm change. There are things that I would focus on instead. And let me tell you what those are. I would still build my business focusing on margins over motion. I am never going to be the person who's going to list 50 or 100 items a day. I have no desire to do that. So I'm still going to build my business around finding items that are going to generate enough income to make it worth my while to list them. The second thing I would do that I would focus on, I would start building business relationships early. I would start talking to estate sale people and people that have antique stores in my area. I'm going to talk to other people who are pickers. I want to talk to other resellers. I'm going to tap into that wealth of knowledge that other people have while I build potential sourcing opportunities. I'm going to start on that right away. Another thing that I would focus on, especially if you're just getting started, is tracking every single penny that goes through my business. I need to know not just how much I bought something for and how much I sold it for, because that doesn't tell the story. I need to know how much did I pay for it, of course. How much did it cost me to get it ready to list? How much did it cost me to get it packaged up? How much did it cost me to ship it? How much were the eBay fees? I need to know all of those things so that when an item sells, I can look at it and I can objectively tell whether or not it made me enough money to be worth my time. So if you're thinking about starting eBay in 2026, you don't need a perfect plan. You just need a smart one. You're not behind. You're just getting started. And that's a great place to be. That's an exciting place to be. That's it for this video. Truly appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to see you real soon on the next one. Bye.